The Canadian educational system has failed its students. Now, many educators would cringe at that statement and they would tell me and say to me, look at the facts. There's countless of resources, countless of sources out there that say that Canada has one of the best educational systems in the world. And you look at any website and they're ranked within the top 20 in educational systems in all the world. And you know what I'd say? I would say to them, that is only measuring the success in the classroom. It's not measuring the success out of the classroom. There have been students that are straight A students in the classroom that haven't made it in the real world. And it's because the education system doesn't prepare them for the real world. So I've come up with 3 reasons why the education system has failed. There are countless other reasons why it has failed, but I've come up with 3. One, it's a one-minded system. Okay, it's a never-ending cycle. Okay, you go to class, you try to gather in all the information, you do your homework, you go home. Maybe the next week they throw in a test, and it's just a never-ending cycle until June comes around. It's just a never-ending cycle. And another way that it's one-minded as well is when teachers sit there and say that, and educators sit there and say that students fail because they just don't try hard. That's not the case. Students fail because they're not learning the way they want to be taught. They're not understanding it. Put yourself in that situation. If you don't understand something, it's frustrating and you want to give up. And unfortunately, a lot of students do that. And that again falls on the educational system. That doesn't fall on the student, it falls on the educational system. 2, testing. Tests are weighted way too much nowadays. Way too much. There's tests that are worth 25, there are tests that are worth 30, there are tests that are worth 100% of people's grades. And to me, that doesn't necessarily mean, you fail that test, and to a student that makes them feel as if, oh, well, I'm worth nothing. That's not the case. Tests were created so that the teacher could get an understanding of how much the class gets a certain subject. Not just test it, evaluate, and then move on. And my 3rd reason that I've picked out is lack of experience. School doesn't give you the lack of work experience that you need. You look at the trend in our employment industry, and it's experience. There's a saying going around that doesn't matter how much school you have, if it's down to 2 people, and some person has a degree, but some person has a ton of work experience, an employer is going to give the person with work experience the opportunity. They're not just going to give out full-time employment to people that went to school, because they'd have to work on training them, they have to spend extra money and extra resources in helping them learn the system. So I've got a few reasons as to how the educational system can fix itself. And so one of them is by asking students how the course, or how they're given course, or how they're given program could be altered to benefit them. So, figure out how many, hands-on learners, how many visual learners, how many audio learners, how many technology learners you have in the class, and then gear your class towards that. Mix it in, mix in all different aspects so that everything is covered. This needs to start at a high school level. We need to start, teaching kids how to make a resume, teaching kids how to do interviews, teaching kids and giving kids, volunteer experience in high school, because that experience you can put on a resume, and then that might look, now you have the experience plus school, you're sitting pretty. And like I said, this is kind of alluding to what I said before, but you have to adjust your course to give it more of a real feeling. So what I mean by that is, I'm in a business course. Maybe gear some courses and like a presentations course. Maybe do it in a way where it's a boardroom setting. Maybe we can do a course in like a war room type setting, or we can do a course in a kind of like a marketing meeting where we're just bouncing ideas off each other. And you can do that for business, you can do that for ECE, you can do that for nursing, you can do that for any, science career. You can do it for any type of course. So thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this blog, and I hope that the education system improves.